In this lesson, I will show you how you can refine your thumbnail. From now on, I will tilt my iPad so I can work better and more freely. And I recommend for you to find a position that works best for you. So the first thing I will do is copy my thumbnail. For this, I will select the thumbnail, stroke down with 3 fingers, and now I can touch copy. Then I will open a new canvas and choose a dimension. As we talked about in the Procreate lesson, I normally go for 30 centimeters, but this picture I want to be really big, so I will choose 40 centimeters. And the resolution should be 300. This is just a starting point for me. I roughly estimate the size. I can crop it afterwards. Now again, I will stroke with 3 fingers down. And now I can paste. My thumbnail is really tiny in this canvas. I want it to be bigger, of course. And now I can adjust the canvas to the proportion of my thumbnail. I click Actions here. I click Crop and Resize. And now I can just grab the edges of my canvas and bring them down, like this. And I'm done. Now I will reduce the opacity of my thumbnail and start to refine it. Now I grab my texture brush and I will adjust it to a size that I can work with. Something like this. And I will choose a random color that is dark enough. I like my strokes to have some color. It's just my personal preference. You can use black if you want to. Now I will create another layer and I will start refining my thumbnail, looking for shapes, rhythm and balance. For example, I want these leaves to be like an umbrella for my stone here. You don't have to be too precise in the step. I just want to put everything on its right place. Now I realized I want my picture to be a little bit more square, so I can show more of the top of the plants. I click Actions here, Crop and Resize. Now I adjusted the size so we can see more on top of the plants. And I cropped in the sides too, just so we can focus a little bit better on the stone. Now I will move the objects around a bit. For example, I want my stone to be bigger and more to the side here, just so it's more in the focus area. And maybe I can lose this plant here and make 2 umbrellas for the stone. Maybe this could be nice. And maybe you remember what I was talking about in the lesson Leading the Eye, about the implied lines. I try to make the stems of my plants be little arrows that will point to the stone. Like this. And maybe we have another plant here, again pointing with the tip to our stone. Here could be the water, and we need a foreground area to create depth. Could be nice to just have a stem here, maybe a leaf here. And I wanted to include some flowers too. And I think it could be really nice for the stone to have a little head, and the head could be a flower. Maybe the stone has hair of moss. Keeping in mind unity and variety, we don't want this to be the only flower in our picture. I will put some other flowers maybe in the front here and in the back. Maybe here could be a nice place for a flower. Or here. You see, I'm really loose with this. It's just about finding the right positions. I will now start sketching more and more of my image, and I may move parts around just until I feel they are right. I will bring my reference board from Pinterest, just I have some inspiration about the form of the leaves and the stems and everything. So I will create another layer and reduce the opacity of this one in order to refine the image even more. And now I can zoom in. Now that I have sketched a bit more about the stone and the little umbrellas on top of it, I will just sit here a while and scribble the background and the foreground. Now I have refined the sketch a little bit more, and you can see something I took care of was having a nice ribbon here with the leaves, just so they should be flowing and should point to the focal point. And now I'm ready to start with the value sketch. Remember what we talked about in the previous lesson about value? This is what we will apply to our sketch here and just draw in some different tones of gray. For this, I go to the Layers panel and I will get rid of all the other sketches I did. The previous ones, I don't need them anymore. And I will reduce the opacity of my layer and set it to multiply. It blends with the layers beneath it and make them darker. What I did now was select a mid-tone gray and fill my layer with this gray. I used this gray just to have a good starting point. And now I will choose the values for my foreground, my middle ground and the background. I will start with the foreground. I want it to be dark, so it separates good from the rest of the image. It doesn't need to be precise at all, it's just to get a feeling for the values of my sketch. The top of my background will be lighter because I want the light falling through the leaves, and it has to be lighter here. But going down, the background will get darker because less light will hit the ground. Until it's really dark. I will just add a pattern of light and dark to my background to get an impression of direct light falling through leaves. Around my focal point, I want the contrast to be very strong, so I will add some more darks. To create the biggest contrast on my focal point, I will have some direct light hitting my stone. And maybe the water will be a little bit lighter. So this is my finished value sketch. You can see it's pretty loose, but it has the most important parts. My focal point is clearly visible. I indicated light and shadow falling through the leaves here. My foreground is dark, and I'm really happy about the overall readability. So this is not final, you can change it at any time, but it should be a good starting point. If at this point you want to change your image to be more high key or low key, you go to Adjustments, choose Curves and Layer and Gamma here. And now you can make the overall image darker or lighter. As I'm pretty happy how my image is, I will just let it be like it is. Now I have my thumbnail and my value sketch, and in the next lesson I will add some color.